What is up, Indianapolis Colts fans? Welcome to Around the Felt. I'm your host, Reagan Loer, here with my co-host, Colin Tong, who is currently frozen on my screen. That is amazing.
I'm not frozen on mine.
Okay, I guess we're back. He ain't frozen no more. Yes, he is, but he kind of is. But anyway, Colts fans, we're going to be breaking down the 2025 season, really taking a deep dive into what we think your Colts can do this year. Colin, how we doing tonight, dude?
Doing great, man. Excited to talk some Colts football. Very interesting ball club, particularly the quarterback room. So excited to dive all into it. Man, Vegas not showing the Colts a lot of love. 7.5 win total here. Some key additions, some big ones in the secondary. Charvarius Ward and Cam Bynum. Big problem from last year was that pass defense. They added Daniel Jones to compete with Anthony Richardson for the QB1 spot. And, of course, their prized possession, Tyler Warren, fell right into the laps on draft night. Some losses, though, particularly in the O-line. Will Fries and Ryan Kelly both left to go to Minnesota. Dayo Adeyingbo, very important, that D-line is also gone, as is Joe Flacco and E.J. Speed. Colts, not projected to have a difficult schedule, 12th easiest. However, I don't think it matters if they can't figure out the quarterback position. Reagan, how bullish are you on the Indianapolis Colts in 2025?
I'm about middle of the pack. I got them going 8-9 this year. I do think Daniel Jones is the best option out of the two, so I'm big on the DTJ train this year. I actually have him winning comeback player of the year.
Nice.
But ultimately, I don't think it'll be enough. I think they'll probably move on from Shane Steichen after another year of, being in the playoff hunt and then missing out towards the end of the year, because it seems like that's been the story of the past 2 years where they were right there. A couple games go differently. Obviously, a win and get in 2 years ago. And then last year, obviously losing to the Giants and kissing those hopes goodbye. But I just don't know. I don't mind the receiver core. Pitman obviously took a major step back. Alex Pierce had some big games and Josh Downs had some big games, but it's not like a crazy room. I mean, Tyler Warren, to me, slots right in as their number one target. Great pick that he fell there. I think he could have, a Brock Bowers type impact, and he's a hell of a blocker as well, so that aspect's nice. Taylor hopefully has a good season, but, he's obviously taken a major step back from what he was. And then on the defensive side of the ball, sick D-line. Zaire Franklin's sick in the middle, and then obviously, their weak point was their secondary. So if Ward and Bynum can really shore it up, then yeah, maybe that's what they need to get over the hump. But ultimately, Daniel Jones or Richardson is going to have to take a big step forward for this team to be a playoff team, because that's what it comes down to, the quarterbacks.
Yeah, I'm not as high on them as you are. I have 7-10 for the Colts. I do want to say I really like Shane Steichen as a coach. I think he's a very smart OC and play designer. I think he's just been stuck with Richardson, who can't stay healthy. So, I mean, he suffered 3 injuries in his first 8 career games as the starter. A concussion, a shoulder, and a hip, and they were all in design running plays. So Steichen coming over from Philly, obviously Jalen Hurts did a lot of that, but Hurts is so durable that it plays. Richardson has not shown he's smart enough to avoid hits. Although he makes some big plays with his legs, he's got to be on the field. And he's also only started 1 game in his career with a completion percentage above 50 before he got benched. In those 8 games, which is insane. And he had 9 fumbles in 10 games before being benched, which is also very bad when you can't complete passes. I mean, he had the league low 47% completion rate, led the league with inaccurate throws, only had 8 touchdowns to 12 picks. So you can look at the tools and be like, yeah, he's got everything you want. He's got the arm. He could chuck the ball 70 yards downfield. He's one of the best rushing threats from the position in the league. At the end of the day, if you can't complete passes, you won't be starting very longer. And, we talked about this in the fantasy pod as well, which you haven't checked that one out. The ultimate guide to fantasy football. We really dove into it. A lot of guys we like and dislike. And Garrett made a point about Justin Fields, and I was like, I agree, because similar to Fields and Richardson, you won't be a long-term starter if you can't be an accurate thrower of the football. And that's just how it is. So you might be good for fantasy football because you can run, but it doesn't mean you're going to keep your job. Richardson's in that camp. And that's why I think bringing Jones in was smart. However, I don't think Jones offers a very high ceiling for this team. I know he did win a playoff game on the road with Brian Daboll in Minnesota in 2022, I don't know if Steichen has that magic in him with this roster to do the same thing, to be frank. The offensive line is okay. Like, obviously, you have a stud in Quentin Nelson. I like their left tackle, but outside of that, it's a little spotty. And Jonathan Taylor has missed 16 games over the last 3 seasons. He did turn 321 touches into nearly 1,600 yards last year and 12 touchdowns. So the production's there. He'll always be a dog when he's on the field. But also in that fantasy episode, I mentioned I'm staying away from him as ADP because I can't trust him to stay healthy. Since that 2021 season when he led the league in rushing, he's just missed a ton of games. So if he's out, it's a big problem in my mind because they need him with the quarterback room they have. I'm sure you agree.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's not exactly another running back on the roster that's like, oh, he could step in and like Tyler Goodson, I'm the one that dropped the ball. I mean, I know a lot of people are interested in DJ Giddens. I've heard a lot of buzz him. And then they got like Khalil Herbert, but at this point we know what he is. So I don't know. I mean, who's also kind of interesting to me? He won't play. I mean, maybe we'll see him in like a Taysom Hill type role, but I'm interested to see if Leonard gets any run, like as like a Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
Because he was
he's also inaccurate as shit too. So it's like weird they added another quarterback like that.
Well, I mean, he kind of just fits the scheme. He's a bigger guy that can run. So I guess it's just like a scheme fit. But I would definitely be interested to see if they use him as like a Taysom Hill type in the Colts and find some ways to get him on the field because he was one of the best rushing quarterbacks in college football last year.
Yeah, I think Giddens is interesting. I think he's probably the leader in the clubhouse to be the RB2 right now. Yeah. Problem with Giddens is he's not really a pass catching threat. He didn't really do that a ton in college, but he's a physical runner. He's got speed. So he could slot in and be pretty solid. But, for fantasy football purposes, I don't know how high of a ceiling he'd have even if he is a starter if he's not going to help you in the passing game necessarily. Getting to the receiver room, I'm a little higher on it than you are. I just think they get killed by their quarterback play, to be frank.
And that's why it's hard for me. If Anthony Richardson's starting, it's like, why would anything change? I mean, you're basically hoping that he connects on one of his moon balls.
I know, and that's the problem with Richardson. He throws the ball downfield more than any other quarterback. That's a big reason his completion rate's below 50. And Jones is the opposite. Jones throws short at like the highest rate in the league.
That's why I think Michael Pitman will be a beast if Jones is the quarterback.
He very well could
saw
be.
What he did with Gardner Minshew, and he's one of those guys that was kind of throwing short, playing safe for being a veteran quarterback. So I think if Jones is a starter, Michael Pittman you're getting an extreme value on in fantasy football, but also for NFL, I think he'll look a lot more similar to his 2023 production.
Yeah, I mean, if you have Colts players in Dynasty, you are rooting for Jones to win this job without a doubt.
Yeah.
Even with his limitations, it's better than Richardson in the passing game for sure.
Well, even Jonathan Taylor gets killed in the red zone because they draw up so many quarterback powers.
True. That's a good point as well. Which maybe they won't be able to do that anymore because Richardson gets hurt. I mean, he already got hurt in preseason. Now he's fine, but very simple. Like a lot of former NFL quarterbacks were ripping him. They're like, dude, that's an easy check. Your offensive line is shifting their protection left. The hot's coming off the right side. Why do you turn left immediately? You got to hit your running back right away. Like that's a pretty simple NFL concept that you need to know. And the fact that he's still struggling with that in year 3 is a huge red flag.
Yeah, I mean, he still feels like a rookie at this point.
Yeah, because he hasn't played a lot of games.
Has he played 10, 11 at this point?
Well, I think it was 10 before he got benched for Flacco. Did he get back? He got back into the starting lineup, played a couple more before getting knocked out for the rest of the season, if I remember correctly. So it's probably like 13 or 14 starts.
Yeah, I mean, so not a lot of football at this point, going into year 3 under his belt. So,
yeah, and look, he's on the hot seat. Like, he is the quarterback that is the most on the hot seat.
Well, dude, I mean, he had 8 touchdowns, 12 picks last year. He was very inefficient. Actually, yeah, 15 career starts.
15, yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, so
in 2 years, 15 career starts, not even a full season, right?
Hey,
he didn't play a lot at Florida either, man. He really didn't.
And an 11 to 13 touchdown interception ratio is not good. This is such a make or break year for him.
Because remember, he was behind Kyle Trask at Florida, even though he had the tools, but Trask just was much better in that offense, even though Richardson's ceiling as a quarterback, of course, significantly higher than Trask, but he couldn't win the job because he wasn't accurate. So he started one season at Florida. And the guy just hasn't played ball. And it's very different to what we're seeing now from quarterbacks coming to the league with a lot of starts that are having immediate success. You know, you took a guy 4th overall with 1 season of starting. That's very risky out of Chris Ballard.
Well, it's also kind of funny. He has 1 less rushing touchdown than he does passing touchdowns. I mean, 10 rushing to 11 passing, that's not ideal. I mean, hey, 10 rushing touchdowns is great in 15 games, but, you know, you'd hope there'd be more passing in that.
It's funny because everyone's like bashing Lamar, like, oh, yeah, those are good stats for a running back. It's like those comments should actually be made towards Anthony Richardson.
Yeah. No, dude, 100%.
But I like the receiver room, man. Pitman, as you mentioned, is good. Downs doesn't play as much because he's like the wide receiver 3, so they run a lot of 2 wide receiver sets.
Doesn't get as many downs.
But when he doesn't get as many downs, but when Downs is on the field, he was targeted on 29.4% of his routes. That's only behind Puka and Malik Neighbors. That's pretty impressive. 72 catches for 803 yards and 5 touchdowns. I like Josh Downs a lot. I just can't. I mean, maybe if you like him in Dynasty like I do, you try to buy him low now when the quarterbacks are shit, hoping there's a change in 2026, which is what it looks like. But I don't know. Pierce also led the NFL with over 22 yards per catch because, you know, when Richardson did connect, it was
there
a
were
bomb.
a few times last year. I remember it cuts the red zone and it's Alex Pierce catching a bomb.
Just a bomb. He had like one game and he had like 2 catches for like 130 yards or something. It's like, geez, It's nuts. And then A.D. Mitchell, people are sleeping on him, man. He was 8th in ESPN's open score last year. The dude just knows how to get open. Problem is no one can throw him the football, right? So I like the weapons a lot. Let's say talking about Tyler Warren, who is a beast after the catch. He always got open. When at Penn State, their wide receiver sucked. Everyone knew the ball was going to Warren. It didn't even matter. He had over 1,200 yards and 6 touchdowns over 16 games and added 218 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground, which is crazy for a tight end. You brought up the Brock Bowers type of impact he could have. Who's the only other tight end you can remember in recent memory that was taking end arounds and handoffs in college? It was Brock Bowers at Georgia. He would take an end around 50 yards, right? So Bowers did that. Warren did that. So
yeah, they were even using Warren for the tush push.
They should. He absolutely
No, they were.
should. Oh, they at Penn State.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were at Penn State. The Colts should definitely do it too because Richardson might just get hurt doing it. You know what I mean?
And Jones obviously already has the neck issues.
Yeah, you can't do it with Jones. It's a great point with the neck injuries, which are definitely a problem. So
if they do that, I mean, that makes Tyler Warren even more valuable for fantasy if he adds in 3 or 4 rushing touchdowns on the tush push.
Oh, I think that could certainly happen. Is there a line for Tyler Warren over rushing touchdowns this year? Because we might have just found the cheat code to print free money.
Imagine, bro.
That's the offense. Defensively, it's in my opinion. I think they're better. Like, they were 25th in sacks last year. I mean, Kwity Paye had 8. You got Laiatu Latu. 2 guys you took in the first round at the edge position. They got to live up to it. The interior defensive line is great. Buckner, he's a really good player. 6.5 sacks last year. Grover Stewart actually had the most run stuffs of all defensive linemen last year with 23. So Muller in the run game. Zaire Franklin is insanely underrated, 2nd in run stuffs. So you highlighted him earlier. Really like Zaire Franklin. Mm-hmm. Secondary is interesting to me. It was so bad last year. Charvarius Ward and Cam Bynum now in the picture. Ward had a bit of a down year last year.
They gave him the bag.
I know. And is that because the Niners sucked and guys just didn't have the same motivation after, being Super Bowl threats for that many years? Is that why? Or I don't know. But Ward was not as good last year as he's been in years past. They need the 2023-2022 Charvarius Ward very badly. Bynum, I think, is a great add at safety, but how big of an impact can a safety really have on the defense? It's going to be on those 2 young edge rushers to really help elevate this defense. For me, even with a pretty weak schedule, the quarterback room is just a major red flag. I still am not buying into this defense. 7-10 for the Colts. They're a good team. I think Steichen's ultimately, for me, though, the quarterback room and this defense are still major red flags, so I can't have the Colts making the playoffs. I got 7-10.
Fair. I mean, I guess I'm a little bit higher, but I also have them missing the playoffs at 8 and 9, like I was saying. But hey, man, they play Daniel Jones. That man is winning comeback player of the year.
I would love that, man. Big fan of DJ. He's a former Giants fan. You don't hear that very often. Former Giants fan. Very, very big fan of Daniel Jones. All right, let's get to the MVP. Who do you got for the Colts?
Yeah, I mean, For me, even with Jonathan Taylor not fully being, what he was, I still think he's going to be the driving force behind this offense. No matter who the quarterback is, he'll still get his. He'll get over 1,000 yards, probably 1,500 all purpose, and get in the end zone at least 10 times. Like, as long as he stays healthy, he's going to be a beast. He's quarterback proof. It's just a matter of how quarterback proof he is.
Yeah, I also have Jonathan Taylor as the MVP, despite me saying I'm staying away from him in fantasy at his ADP because of the injuries. He is the engine of this offense. He's the most valuable player, like without a doubt, because the receivers, you can't rely upon them because the quarterback play. You can't go receiver route here. Maybe you can make the argument Tyler Warren if he has a Brock Bowers type rookie year. But at the end of the day, it is JT, the vet here, the engine of the offense. The X factor, it's got to be the quarterbacks, right? Whoever wins it, Richardson or Jones. Let's be honest. I think they're both going to get starts this year. I think they're going to flip-flop, to be honest with you. But they are the X factors. It's what do you get out of that room?
Mine actually is the secondary because that was such a big thing that held them back last year. So, they went out and paid Ward and Bynum, to bring them in and try to hopefully fix it. And we look back and, Drew Lock put up 40-something on their head last year. So, they almost made the playoffs with rotating Flacco and Richardson last year. So if they can shore up the secondary, then maybe they can still be a playoff team, even if the quarterback play is inconsistent.
Valid. Rookie of the year. Come on. Tyler Warren, man. It's Tyler Warren. I mean, I like JT.
They really don't have a lot of rookies anyway.
Yeah, JT Tuamalo, the edge they took in the second round. He was actually 8th best pressure rate in the Big Ten last year. So he's got potential there, but he's blocked by Kwity Paye and Laiatu Latu, the 2 first-round picks. Tyler Warren is going to be an absolute stud. Like, I'm so high on him. I love him in fantasy. Like, love him as a player. He's a dog. Tyler Warren's the rookie of the year here, without a doubt. Depoy.
Do you think Tyler Warren could win rookie of the year, like, for the league as well?
It's man. So it's interesting because last year Bowers, you were like, in most years, like when you set a record for a rookie, you should get it, but it was the quarterbacks. This year, the quarterback class is nothing special. Yeah. So it opens the door for a guy like a Tyler Warren to win it. I don't think he will because I think the running back class is just too damn good. And a couple of these guys are going to go absolutely nuclear as rookies. But hey, if he goes for over 1,000 yards and double-digit touchdowns, he's certainly going to be in the top 3.
Mm-hmm.
Who's your depoy for the Indianapolis Colts?
Yeah, I'm going with Zaire Franklin. Dude's just going to be a tackling machine. He's, the driving force in the run game. I mean, he's good in the pass game as well. When they let Darius Leonard go after he was such a big factor, everyone's like, I don't know, but Zaire Franklin has come right in. Been one of their longest tenured guys, and he's just the leader of this defense.
It's a great pick, man. Everyone, like, it was a really bad fall off for him, and then Franklin stepped right in and took the role and ran with it. They also let Okereke go as well, who was a very good linebacker for them. So they had confidence in Zaire Franklin. Great pick. I went to DeForest Buckner. Just he's shown he could be a high sack guy from the interior, which is very rare. He's also a beast in the run game. Only 6.5 sacks last year. I'm calling an uptick here. Hopefully with the growth of the edge rushers around him, the 2 young guys that we mentioned, I think Buckner could push 10 sacks. If he gets to 10, it would be monstrous for this defense. Fantasy football. What do you like? It's tough, man, with the quarterbacks.
I like Pitman. I think he's a value because if we do see Jones, I think he's going to be a beast. Warren, I agree. Why not take the shot on him? You don't really have to pay anything crazy for him right now.
I think he's tight end 10.
I'm cool with Jonathan Taylor. There's other guys I like more, but ultimately we know this guy's probably going to be pushing 300 touches between rushing and, receiving. And, if they are worried about Richardson's injuries and stuff, like they might not do the quarterback powers as much. So I would imagine more touchdowns. Josh Downs, I'm cool with taking a shot in late. Alex Pierce, I don't think he'll ever have the volume to be a guy that I want to touch. But yeah, I mean, there's no one I'm necessarily staying away from in this offense. And, Richardson, ultimately, if he's playing, like, you can start him any week as a spot start. I mean, best ball, it's risky because there's going to be a lot of, you don't know what it is. But if you take him in best ball, you might get a huge value because he could keep the job. Like, there is the world where Daniel Jones never touches the field this year as well.
Yeah, I like Tyler Warren a ton. I've taken him in a lot of best ball. I have 2 redraft leagues coming up, and I'm going to be targeting Warren as my tight end if I don't pounce on one of those guys early, like a Bowers or McBride. I really like the value of Warren at tight end 10. Think he's going to way outproduce that. I think he'd be top 5, 6 as a rookie. I am throwing darts at DJ Giddens late in best ball, just with Jonathan Taylor's injury history. As I mentioned, I'm staying away from JT at his ADP in redraft. Dynasty is a different question. Like, as you mentioned, Reagan, if he's healthy, he's going to get 300 touches. And, he has the talent to be an elite back, but it's just, for me, the health is a concern. The receiver room, it's tough because I really like Pitman, Downs, and A.D. Mitchell all as players, but personally staying away due to the quarterback uncertainty.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It'll be an interesting year for the Colts, man. But I definitely think Shane Steichen is out of a job if they don't make the playoffs.
That's great. I like Shane Steichen a lot as a coach. It sucks to see that happen.
I just don't think you could bring back a guy that goes like, if you just miss out again. I mean, that's 3 years in a row of like kind of just staying the course, and Richardson really doesn't develop. Then that means so they're probably a whole new regime and looking at a new quarterback next year.
That's what happens, man, in the NFL. When you take a quarterback early and he doesn't hit, you're probably going to lose your job. That's the unfortunate consequences in this league. Colts fans, hit the comments. Are you more bullish on your squad than we are?